What is up, people of YouTube? What is good? I'm Lexie from Creative Readers, etc. How has y'all's day been? Has it been good? I hope it's been good. But if it hasn't been, it's gonna be good now because we're here with another bullet journal video. Hey! This video, I am not making my own bullet journal. I am making this person's bullet journal. This person is Cassandra. She is making my bullet journal, and if you want to watch her create that, there will be a link down below in the description. So go check that out right now. And if you haven't already done it, why don't you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and stay around for more content because we're pretty cool people. Sometimes. Anyway, so I decided to do a nature theme for her bullet journal because she said she wanted me to do some watercolor, and I aim to please. So I did, and nature and watercolor always go really well together, and you can do some really cool scenes with it.
So I did, and nature and watercolor always go really well together, and you can do some really cool scenes with it.
Y'all, there's a ghost in my room. I'm really happy with how Cassandra's bullet journal came out, and I'm very excited for her to see the final product and for you guys to see the final product, which you can do right now if you continue watching the video. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Alright, so to kick things off, I started with the calendar, and I wanted to create sort of like a mountain, nighttime, mystical, magic scene, and I think I did a really good job of that. It looks really cool, and I used a bunch of cool tones because cool tones are my favorite, and also my Winsor Newton watercolor palette, which is what I use, has a lot of those, so it made it really convenient. And here you see me creating the mountains over a lake, which is kind of typical like Bob Ross vibe, but it looks really good, and also there's nothing wrong with Bob Ross vibes. Bob Ross is a genius. And yeah, I kind of did a gradient for the night sky. Also, I'm really losing my voice now, so I'm very sorry that you guys are suffering. I am too, believe me. But overall, that's pretty much all I did for the calendar. It looks more complex than it is, but it's pretty, it works, it's functional. Hey, what more could you want? So I know you guys are all gonna clock me and Cass for this because we didn't realize it sooner, but it's June and we don't need a homework tracker, yet this is still probably my favorite spread out of this whole month. I really wanted to do something unusual that you don't usually think of when you think of nature. And there you can see me double checking my Japanese because I'm trash. Haha. So I did a cherry blossom because they're super pretty and super artistic, and I just wanted to try my hand at something new. And you'll see me coloring the tree with my Crayola Super Tips, and then I did the background, which I didn't record, with my Prismacolors, and I also did the leaves with my Prismacolors, and it looks really happy. I started with the highlights as one does, and then I added the shadows last, and my marker also started running out halfway through, which was a major inconvenience, but it still looks really cool, and it kind of looks like it has the bark texture. So overall, I'm really happy with it, and I love this spread so much. So moving on now to the habit tracker, I did honeycombs for this one because honeycombs are really cool, and every bullet journal seems to have honeycombs and they go with nature, so I did. And it's really simple. I just drew a bunch of hexagons, although the tiny ones that I'm drawing now in the background literally took me like an hour to do just to get all the measurements pretty equal, and I'm sure some of them aren't equal still, but I mean it looks alright, so we just went with it. And then I colored in the background using 3 colors basically, and then I did some lettering for the headings and whatnot, and that's pretty much all there was for this one. Alright, so now I'm moving on to the finances tracker, and apologies for my voice. It sounds like literal death, because it is, because it's allergy season, and it's killing me. So we're drawing a desert scene because there are no allergens in the desert, more than likely. I don't know, I've never been to the desert. But here I'm just watercoloring a sunset using my Winsor & Newton watercolor palette, adding in some clouds with a darker color because sometimes clouds are dark. And now I'm just drawing in the sand. Probably should have used a lighter color, but I don't have a lighter color acrylic markers. Actually, I probably do, but I didn't find one that I liked, so I just did that. And later on off camera, I added in a little bitty cactus because cactuses are cute. And I'm just doing the lettering now, writing in finances and doing some crappy lines because I was stupid and couldn't find my ruler, and I wasn't too impatient to wait for myself to find the ruler. So yeah, that is the finances tracker. Okay, so this is the stats page, and for the stats page, which is basically just her playlist and books she read, I wanted to do an autumn scene with a fox because they're color coordinated and Cass's favorite animal is a fox, so it made sense. And I added a tree in the background because trees are really cool, and it would give me an excuse to draw falling leaves that made sense. And I colored it in with my Crayola marker to kind of give it the bark texture, and also to save my wrist from using the colored pencil, which I did use for the rest of it, which I kind of regretted. But yeah, so I just went in with my Prismacolor colored pencils, keeping with orangey, red, yellow fall tones, and I outlined it with my Faber-Castells as opposed to my Tombow. Or not outlined, I did the lettering just because I felt like it, and I kind of regretted that decision later on, but it's okay. We made it work, and it doesn't look that awful. So, and then I kind of did an overcast day because it made it easy on myself. Yeah. So now we move on to the weekdays, and this is the decorative page that accompanies every week. And I did this one first so I could kind of match the weekday to the color of the accompaniment page. And I wanted to do a waterfall because I hadn't yet, and I mean, it's hard to avoid waterfalls in nature because they're everywhere and they're beautiful. So I used colored pencil for this because I didn't feel like busting out the watercolors. And it looks really good. I'm really happy with how it came out. I kind of surrounded the waterfall with like dirt-covered mountains, if that makes sense. Then threw on some Bob Ross style trees because Bob Ross is my king. And I left the top part blank because I wanted to put a quote there and I didn't want to like overshadow that with color or anything. So yeah, and here I'm just shading in the mountains, trying to add some highlight and shadow parts. I was about to call them not highlighted parts. And I like how it came out. I really do. I think it came out really well. Moving on to the actual weekday page, this one was really simple. I just made a rectangle big enough to fit 8 squares because there was only one day in the first week, and I was just going to put it in there because I didn't want to waste a whole page for one day. So I kind of used a mid-tone to dark blue for the background, and then on the inside I colored it in with a darker blue, but it wasn't that much darker, and it looks pretty neat. You get the streakiness with the markers, but that just happens because of the markers. I can't use my Prismacolor markers on this paper because it'll bleed through like a nightmare. And so, final product. I probably should have outlined the boxes and stuff with a thicker pen, but it's okay. I did do the bubble letters and with the white line in the middle just to kind of bring them out. And that is our first week. So for this week, which is the second week, I took inspiration from a picture I found on Pinterest, which is a rainbow, and on one side of the rainbow was color, and on the other side was not. So to represent that, I used markers and pencil on one side to make it kind of colorful, even though it's overcast in a desert, so it was not very colorful, and just plain pencil on the other side. And this one isn't very detailed, but I really like the simplicity of it all. So you'll see me painting the clouds with the marker and a little bit of paint pen for highlights and kind of doing a deserty ground. And on the other side, I just sort of sketched in a rough sky and kind of left a light gray ground that was sort of sketchy looking to give it a little bit of texture. And yeah. I put in a quote this time too that says, "Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud," and I actually did record it, so yeah. So here you see me coloring in the third weekday spread, and I decided to do a crystal theme for this one. It's like a crystal cave, because it's mysterious and magical and easy to draw, most importantly. I was going to use my metallic watercolors to color in the crystals, but I could not find them, which made me very upset. But we made do anyway, and it came out really good. So here I'm just using my Tombow dual brush pen to color in the rock part. And later I will be using some miscellaneous gel pens to color in the crystals. And I do the lettering with my Tombows as well. So there's nothing too special here. I'm just coloring in the quote, or lettering the quote, I should say, with my Tombows, as I stated earlier. And it just says, "Life is always rocky when you're a gem," which isn't anything too inspirational, but I thought it was super cute. And also, it matches Cassandra's sense of humor, so I went with it, and I'm really happy with how it looks. Spread, I did a cactus, which I know I've already done a desert, but I just got that new Tombow that you see me using, and I was very eager to use it. And also, cactuses are simple to draw, so it was pretty much the obvious choice. So I just did a simple cactus, no spines on it because I don't have time for that. And then I colored in with my other brand new Tombow, and also a more sand-like color than what I used for my desert spread. And for the quote on this page, it's also not inspirational. It just says, "A cactus is a very aggressive cucumber," which made me snicker, so I added it because I felt like it. Don't judge me. So here is the inaugural social media tracker in Cassandra's bullet journal, and it will also be in my bullet journal, though I don't know if she put one in June, but we'll worry about that later. I did some cute mushrooms because Mario Kart and also mushrooms are pretty, and I really liked the new brown Tombow, and I really wanted to utilize it, and it just kind of was the only thing that I could think of that I hadn't really done. Also, I wrote 40 in my tracker, and I don't know why, but that's for our growth on Instagram and YouTube, and the top part is a schedule. So, yeah, pretty simple and straightforward. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the centerpiece of the month, even though it's the first page, of course, the cover page. I really wanted it to be the best page out of the month, so I did some watercolor because I feel like it's the best medium for me to work with, or I'm the best at using it out of all of the mediums that I own, and it's really pretty. I did sort of a green valley to add some color to the month, because the first couple pages are sort of dull. I mean, they're colorful, but they're cool, and this green just pops out. And I added a river because water, and the lettering was pretty simple, but still turned out really good. I'm really, really pleased with how this turned out and how this month turned out. So here is the final flip through. And that's it, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and follow us on Instagram. Bye! Thanks for watching!